We're all set here. Let me know when you guys are ready and I'll unmute. And also unmute your mics, please.
Take off at 7:10.
Okay, let's get cracking and go
All right,
fast then.
yeah, we can get done by then.
All right, Community Preservation Meeting, October 6, 2025, 6:30 PM. Let's call the meeting to order.
I'll move to open the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. All right. First on the agenda, discussion on projects for the fiscal year '26 that were presented at the needs hearing. On the back of the update for the administrator, the applications for the bathroom installations at Shanahan Field and Washington Park remain ongoing. We have contacted the vendor to explore additional options in response to the feedback provided from the committee. That feedback is currently being integrated into the applications where appropriate. Additionally, letters of support have begun arriving from Groveland Youth Soccer Leagues. On the Perry Park Phase 2, as previously noted, we're in the process of scheduling a meeting with WDG to review their final deliverables from Phase 1. During this meeting, we will also evaluate their proposed scope for Phase 2. Following that discussion, we will refine the scope as necessary and proceed with the application. Please note that this project is being led by Stephanie Bartelt, and my office is providing support due to the nature of the project. And then one additional project that was not brought up at the needs hearing, but may be, that Rebecca's involved with, is the basketball courts at the Bagnell School. This project was inadvertently omitted from the recent needs hearing. A parent approached me regarding the possibility of securing funds to improve the basketball area at the Bagnell Elementary School. As this aligns with our broader capital improvement plans, I agreed to collaborate on the application. The resident has begun completing the application, and I am currently working with the highway superintendent to develop a design schematic and cost estimate. Then on the other ones, Washington Hall parking lot, I still haven't heard any details about that. Lighting upgrades at the Pines, I know Rebecca was working on that. I
So
reached
that,
out to a vendor and kind of got her a different set of eyes on it.
so I am working with her on that as well, because we're kind of making it into, all the different lighting areas, like the football thing and the skate park and the pickleball, all of it. And I just had a call with her earlier this week, and we talked about working together on it and, putting our heads together to kind
Yep.
of bring that to fruition.
And I will continue to be of assistance if
Awesome.
necessary. One thing I did note, I got a preliminary estimate from, I don't know if she shared it with you or not, but if we go with the color changing lights, they are substantially more expensive. They're
Oh, okay.
almost twice the cost.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I know that you're the electrician here.
What are you, new?
Yeah, well, I haven't been here. Don't give me a hard time. Anyway, help me out with this. I'm just wondering about with lighting, with all these locations. You know how there are bulbs that are supposed to be better for lighting and not for affecting the night sky?
Right.
So these are all very directional LED lights, and
So that would qualify as these,
they are ultra efficient.
So DJ was talking about he's close over to Pentucket, and they have used this lighting that it's really good.
Down facing,
Yeah.
it's kind of just,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm surprised that it doesn't, sorry, it's down facing, and I'm quite surprised that it doesn't not light up the night sky, and
Okay.
they're on all night long, up until like 10 o'clock, I think, and I don't have any
so
type of
that's
residual.
something the town would always consider as a default in terms of the types of lighting that they would purchase from now forward?
Well, I think it's
It's
I think
really
it's
all that's
I think it's
available.
I think it's a smart idea. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of edict that says you have
Yeah.
to do it this way, but I mean, to the extent that I'm involved in this lighting project, it's something I'm thinking about, and certainly it factors into what I would propose and how I would propose it.
Yeah, and I don't think we're looking for 24/7 lights anyway.
No,
only
100%.
During activity.
Right.
I think majority of playgrounds and ballparks, ball fields, they all go to that down facing now with the LED lighting. I don't really think there's
There isn't
options.
anything else.
They just, that's what they do because of
I don't.
the
I
light,
don't know
light
enough
pollution,
about
light
it to
pollution.
know
No.
Yep.
about whether or not that's the same thing as what I'm thinking about, but,
Yeah, you're thinking about like the light pollution.
Light pollution.
It's like,
Yeah.
that just kind of brights up the whole area.
Right.
The old school, even, maybe it's even Haverhill, right? You can see the lights coming from the Haverhill Stadium where it's kind of an
Yeah.
older, they haven't been upgraded yet.
Right.
But whereas at the high school, whether it's the utility field that's across and the football stadium, I don't see any, and I'm right behind it.
so is that up to the people that are proposing the things, or it's, because it's not really anything set as a requirement or as a
There-
strong recommendation?
There are requirements through design consortiums that you do have to follow.
Okay,
I don't think we're doing a large enough scale project where it necessarily matters.
Okay.
That being said, all the lights meet that, they call it, I can look up the exact term, but it's like
Right.
ultra efficient, non-offensive light or something to that effect. And basically every light manufactured nowadays meets that requirement.
And to your point, there's also some oversight, right? So this board is evaluating projects and things like that. And so if I came up to the board and said, I want floodlights everywhere with, a bazillion candle power, right? Like, that would be met with resistance, I imagine. And so there's that piece, but then additionally, any of these projects has to be voted at town meetings. So the good people of Groveland, hi guys, you're watching, like, they have final say-so on thumbs up or thumbs down on these projects. So there's two levels of oversight beyond just, hoping that the people that present projects are being mindful of stuff that Groveland residents talk about and seem to care about, things like that. So, but I think your concern is well placed.
okay, thank you.
I was on the building committee of Pentucket for 7 years. And we voted for the lighting. It was a large expense.
Yeah.
But it came in the budget, and we were still able to get it within the budget. But it was close to $1 million.
For the lighting.
Yeah. That doesn't count the wiring. That's just the lighting and the poles. So, but it is a very efficient. The kids play soccer out there at 10 o'clock at night. They do everything. And it is not visually impairing to anybody, and it only lights the field. And what they do is when they put it up, they predetermine the angles. So all the angles for the lights that are on the tower are already predetermined, and they just set it. When you turn it on, it lights it up.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay.
All right. Any more lighting?
We'll have more to discuss at the next meeting for sure.
Yep. All right, and then the other one on here, the Johnson Pond weed control. Do you have any,
No.
get anywhere with that?
No
Talk to the Highway
actions.
superintendent?
No actions this month.
All right.
Oh, Mike, I took a ride through Benjamin Street and Pond Street.
Yes.
And the area that you were proposing for a ramp to remove the material, is that Benjamin Street Extension?
Well,
It's a little road that goes downhill and to
Yes.
the pond.
well, there, if you go straight ahead, that goes to VZ Park, but there's a right-hand turn there. I don't know if you saw that
Yep.
little road. Yeah, I think it's part of a street that goes on the other side, but that's the one. If you go to the end of that, you can get to the pond from there, and that's town property where it ends.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
So I have someone else coming to talk about an additional potential project.
Okay,
I didn't get to tell you that. She should be here pretty soon,
okay.
but if you want to.
We can, we'll put a pin in that and we'll come back to it.
Yeah,
Next up, we have,
here she is.
oh, right on cue. All right, we'll circle back.
So actually, is there a mic over?
Perfect.
I've got a spare one here that
Oh,
Ed's
better
not
one.
here.
Yeah, it's probably a better one.
Hop right at the end of the table, pretend like you're here.
Should I get something like that? Just kind of an outline.
No, it's okay.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Not very
Thank you.
clothing but all about the visuals these days. All right. Vanessa Lopez, the director up at BC Memorial Park.
Is
and-
your mic green?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good, okay.
Good to know. Anyhow, I'm the director at VC Memorial Park, and I'd like to put in an application for a CPA grant this December. I've noticed that there are some areas that are kind of dark at night when there are events and community gatherings, and so my hope is to brighten up some of the outside. A couple different ways we could do that, so this is just, I mean, obviously it'll depend on the money, the funding, but it can be something as simple or as complicated as we can make it with the funding that we have. So there is existing electricity outside already in the back. I'd like to extend that to the Hilltop area, which is really popular for currently weddings, but I really see like music in the park coming back because there's just a lot more space up there. And just kind of lighting up the areas along that path that people can see where they're going when there is an evening thing. What else? And there are just some things around that, just for safety's sake, we could use a little brightening up. I've noticed that there are also different things that can address that in terms of like solar-powered lights and things like that. So, but the main one being something that the community can use while they're outside, as well as dealing with some safety issues, so.
Excellent.
Do you know what the existing voltage is?
I want to say there's, I think, 5 of the little switches, so what is that, like 25?
Oh, the breakers. In the-
Yeah, the breakers.
No, I was looking for what
So
the
it's a
service is.
Telephone pole, so I suspect it's quite a bit of voltage, because I'm not totally
think-
sure
I
how
think-
that all works, but,
If I recall correctly, I think it's all 122/40 single phase up there.
Yeah, oh, it's single phase. There is no
Yeah.
three-phase on Washington Street,
Yeah, there you have it.
up there,
So, I mean, it's gonna be 122/40 single phase.
yeah. Okay,
About how far from where the electrical is now to where
so
you want it to
that is
end?
the big question. I mean, I'm kind of looking just as far as I can go, and that would probably make it about 100 feet from the dedicated pole.
And do you intend on setting another pole, digging a
Yes.
hole,
I would
putting it in
like
the
to have
ground?
at least, like, almost like a square that kind of takes the whole area, so that there are different, it can be used in different areas.
Okay, and have you had any discussions with Groveland Light on this?
I have not had any discussions with Groveland Light.
They're the ones that would be setting the poles, or adding additional poles, so it may be worthwhile to reach out to them. Unless you're gonna have a private contractor do it, which is gonna be cost prohibitive.
Right, I'm not sure if Groveland Electric has ever done anything like that, but I would absolutely love to talk to them.
I would
and see.
reach out, the worst they can do is say no.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Would
Great
there be
idea.
any requirement if it is a town property that they would be obligated to do
no, they're not
something?
obligated to do anything,
Oh,
They are very user-friendly.
okay.
to a certain point.
But I mean, it is a town property is what I mean, and they're our town electrical service.
Yes, but they are set up as the enterprise fund, so they're not tied to the town, per se.
Yeah, it's really
So-
tricky because that kind of limits our solar power possible options since it's not part of the national grid system, but we still have to pay all our own electricity. So that
Right.
kind of sucks as a
But-
property.
As looking at it as the light department, this is an added load and more revenue to them, right? If you use more electricity, you're gonna pay more.
Right.
How long for the cost benefit to pay off what they had to put out in order to do it, but, and I don't even think they're looking at it that close. I think if they can help out, they will. I would certainly reach out. You may wanna try with Rebecca. She's got a pretty good relationship going on with them. She's working with a couple other projects on them.
Awesome, yeah.
So this isn't for lighting. This is just for electrical sources to be able to plug something in for this.
So
you don't have any-
it sounds to me like you're looking for lighting and power and anything really you can get to make the space more usable.
There are a couple different, questions to that, and part of it is it gonna run all night, or is it something that we can put on a switch? So that's kind of one of the important things. If we can't, like, if that's too cost prohibitive, then probably just the posts with outlets, because then we have more versatility on what we can use the light for.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to put a switch in if you need to shut them on and off. No one's gonna have those things running all night.
So this estimated cost, though, this is just for posts and electrical fixtures, the connection. This does not factor in putting lights. You haven't got any quotes for putting any type of lighting in there as well.
No.
This is just for the
for
fixtures,
posts.
just to post with some outlets
Yep.
to be able to plug something in and get
Yep.
light if you needed portable lights or whatnot.
Exactly. I don't think that having like big lights out in the middle of the backyard is really, it would, I'm not sure if that would work or not. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what we're thinking.
Where did you arrive at these numbers?
So these are just kind
They
of,
kinda look like they might be dartboard numbers.
I know, well, they're not, they are and they aren't.
And that, no, that's fine. I just,
It's just such a
Right, it's
range.
let us help
October.
you dial it in.
Right, it's
Yeah.
October, and
Yeah.
December was when the rubber meets the road. So like, you've got a little bit of time, but use some time and get something more firm.
I've talked to different people just over the years. I know things are getting more expensive, so I do think these numbers are a little bit optimistic, but we have had things done before, and I feel that we could work with people that are looking to help out a nonprofit, and so I think that we could get the costs lowered, and we can also adjust the project based on what the costs are. So if we only get 2 poles out there, that's still better than nothing, or if we only just get the whole, piping or wiring dug out, that's part of it too, because that's just,
Yeah,
fine.
I would highly recommend reaching out to Groveland Light and seeing how they can assist you.
I know
And
that
let-
would save us a ton.
Well, let them tell you no before you start tracking down, going down the other roads. That would be my first phone call.
And then the second phone call should be to Rebecca, because she was a great go-to to collab.
Oh, yeah, this
all
is
stuff.
totally a
And I mean,
project
and so, as you get closer to when you're like submitting, right? This board doesn't like the idea of, hey, we'll get a big budget and then we'll do just some of the stuff we said.
Right.
What this board wants is we'll get accurate quotes and do the things we say we're gonna do, right? So and that's not a negative. This is actually a positive, because, if the numbers are right, then the things that you've said you want to do, you're going to get to do them all, right? And so it's one of those things where it would be better to, quote high with, actual folks that are going to do the work, right? Than to quote low and then have to come back and say, oh, well, I only want to finish part of the project. That's not the kind of thing that the board wants to just do these things kind of piecemeal.
I definitely understand that.
Right.
I think the challenge that is that what you get quoted on in
No, I understand.
2025 might change in 2026.
Well, and that's something
So-
like in the quoting process.
Right,
You want to
I
make
add
sure that you're
that.
clear.
Let
Hey,
them
listen,
know
this is a
it's not gonna
2026
happen.
project.
So then the other
right.
question is, this is something that, I want a project that is doable.
Yeah.
And that is more likely to get, to happen. So is it more likely to get a good application with a good idea for 25,000 than something for?
Again, I would prefer that you not just throw out random numbers and you actually go get quotes of what you want as a completed project.
Sure.
And we'll draw a picture of what the project's gonna look like, and we'll put actual numbers on it.
Okay.
Whether it's 10,000 or 50,000, if it,
Right.
if it meets the goal and it gets what we want, great.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I think, I just want, real quick, I think that, and to your point exactly, is this is the October phase where we get to talk through and someone can say, hey, CPC,
Yeah,
this
no.
is my idea. I have no clue how I'm going to approach it, but this is an idea that I want to throw out there. And are you in support of it going forward? So now she can do the additional
Agreed.
legwork and now get just a conceptual plan
Yep.
and just say, hey, so I think that'd be something, I think, I'm in agreement, right? Yes, get some fixtures, lighting, something like there for safety purposes, for useful purposes. I think it's more so.
It goes to
Would we
like-
be on board if she put something more formal together?
Oh, yes.
And I think that's really the first step.
Like,
That's
does
why
this
we're
look
here in
like a good
October.
project, the type of project that
It,
you're looking
it,
at?
it certainly has potential. It definitely needs to be,
Oh, yeah, that I can
dialed.
do.
Right.
I'll offer my services, as this is my particular area of expertise. I may be able to help you out, but I would, again, highly recommend starting with the utility company, and that's gonna really dictate what you're gonna do.
And to DJ's point, the fact that we're giving you some pushback, it's not that we don't like the project. I agree. I think this is exactly the kind of thing that the CPC funds are designed to do, right? So we're taking an asset of the town and we're gonna enhance it. We're gonna make it better for everybody in a way that's, gonna be great for decades, right? And so,
This is also to go to the common theme of maximizing a town asset that already exists.
100%. And so I think the board is going to respond fairly favorably to something that, that advances that goal. And this is definitely along those lines.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, so go talk to the people, go flesh things out, and, you come back with numbers and you feel really confident about it, then, if it doesn't necessarily matter. It matters where the money number is, but, ultimately, even a project that's more expensive, if it's done right, is not gonna meet with, heavy resistance if it's, again, if it is
If it
worth
accomplishes the goal.
Right.
For sure. I mean, I love to know the holes in the project because, we want to address those where they are. And honestly, the numbers, I know that there's a huge difference when you're going to that 100-foot, I think, was it 75? You start needing a different,
Size of wire and
yeah,
conduit.
exactly. So I did get all.
I can help you through all
that
these
information,
particulars. This
so-
is,
Yeah, so I got some knowledge there, but yeah, it's a matter of just, really picking exactly the what and wheres, so.
And another thing is, you don't have to be hemmed in by like one particular thing. You can say, I have 3 options that I have, to present, and this is this is the full Monty option, this is the kind of middle of the road, and this is the let's just do something.
I like that
And-
idea.
And so you can also, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And this is a rolling committee, so, if it doesn't work out in 2026, then there's 2027, and all of a sudden, you've already got your base to start, so. But I think you'll get support on this board for this kind of project.
please
It's a good one, right?
continue to develop the project further and.
Awesome, yeah, I'll definitely put
And
this one on the
the other thing
priority
that
list.
would be very helpful is to get electrical company up there, it's preferably 2, telling them that the estimated date is 2026, say, summer. We look to get the poles, maybe you can get those from the light department. More than likely, you're gonna want the wiring underground.
Right, definitely,
So because of snow, trees, limbs,
for sure.
major catastrophes, that kind of thing. So they can put a number on like 100 by 75 area to be lit up with X number of lumens and the wire size, which comes underneath Adam's category. And then also they have to look and find out where they can pull the power from, existing service. They have to put in a sub panel with a timer switch and everything else. And if you have all those things itemized out on a bid, especially 2 bids, company A, company B, you put them together, that would give us on the committee here a very good viewpoint
Yeah.
to go after.
Well, and it also gives you cost certainty too. Like you have a really good idea of what things cost and then, you'll probably even be below it, ultimately when it's done, if you've got multiple,
I would encourage, just looking at this, where you have potential sound equipment, is to maximize what you can put out there. Put the infrastructure out there so you can do more than a circuit full of lights. If you're gonna have a band come plug in speakers and,
Yep.
Think
you're
long-
talking,
think
you're
long
talking a
term.
little more
Right.
than an
That's-
outlet.
Think
that's
long-term.
the goal. That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what I'm
100%.
looking for. Because, yeah, there's a lot of things that could be
But,
done out
but again,
there.
if you want to start with the utility, talk to them, see what they can do for you, and then you can get me through Mike, and I will help you develop a scope of work that you can then put out for bid and.
Beautiful. That would be wonderful.
Because you probably want to, if you mentioned a few other little things you'd like to improve, maybe not this 50 by 100 area, but entering one building or a driveway, you're looking for, have those itemized out so that when you get
Yep.
a proposal, each one has a dollar value on it.
Yes.
Then, if it's the whole lump sum and you get it all, great. If you need to cut back, well, I guess we could do without that light going out in the back out there. Then you can cut off $500, $800.
Does that mean you guys, when you take in an application, do you usually award the fund that is being asked for, or is there wiggle room on the number that you guys decide on? How does that work?
Typically, I would say we would approve the amount requested. We may encourage you to maybe bump that amount up a little bit for a contingency, just in case something happens or unforeseen circumstances, so you're covered and you don't have to wait a whole nother year and come back and everything's gotten more expensive.
Yep.
The goal, I believe, of the committee would be, if we put a project forward and we approve it, we want to see it get done. We don't want it to get halfway installed, run out of money, you have to go find money somewhere else. We would rather it be a complete, do the project.
But
And
we
it's-
also are going to require them to have a contingency amount of money in the budget. It can't be, well, we'll add that later. No, it needs to
Yep.
be a line item.
Yeah.
And the approved budget is for the line items that are accounted for. So like you had mentioned earlier, if, say, it's $25,000 and you have X, Y, Z in the proposal, but only ends up being X and Y are the only two things that could be completed for the 25, that's what we don't want. That's what we don't want,
Okay.
right? We want to make sure that it's all encompassing and it's not, okay, we're cut, because the town will eventually have to vote on whether they want to approve this project, and that project has to meet, the entire scope of the project has to meet that funding, and then if you need to, it needs to be extended, or then you have to go to another town vote. So you really want to, when we get it to finalized, you want X, Y, Z covered for the proper amount, and then we can handle the additional funding
Just get
over
close-
on top.
As
If-
close to the actual cost.
If I can actually jump on that as well, because the flip side of that is if there's something that you think you might want, put it in there. Because if you don't, it's not like, oh, I got $5,000 left over, I can go spend it on whatever I want. We want the money, we're
That's
gonna want the
true.
money
I was
back.
gonna suggest ground lighting, right? Even if it's ground lighting for parking, if it's that parking area, you can go low-level lighting, and then you have something that's higher up for other.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Random.
I mean, some of it is going to be, the funds are definitely going to limit what we can do, but I've been looking, just the last couple of years, I bought those like $30 stick-in-the-ground solar lights. They've been awesome. Of course, they only last a couple seasons, but I've noticed there's higher quality things too, so it.
And you can get actual electric ones too, that,
That
the solar
hardwire in
panels
and
aren't,
stuff.
and batteries aren't burning out, and they're hardwired.
Yeah, so I think we have some options for lightings. We'll really look at that list.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, no,
Just
I-
give the options, and then we can.
And any ideas that you have, include them now, don't
Well, this
kick
is very
yourself in the foot for not
encouraging.
doing it later.
100%.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Got a lot
Thank you.
of homework to do now.
If there's ever any questions,
Yeah, we meet once a month.
call,
We're all friendly.
or we meet,
Yeah.
and we're all-
Email.
We're all
phone call.
residents in town here.
Well, this was a friendly group.
The man knows how to get a hold of me.
Guys, have a great day.
Thank you so
too.
much. Thanks for your work.
All right, moving along. Crosstown Recreational Trail.
Yes. Okay. So this project has a budget of $18,000. None has been spent yet. And so the goal of the Conservation Commission is to try to get this done, since it was kind of sidetracked during COVID, et cetera. So Rebecca got 2 quotes for this, and both of those quotes didn't involve actually building the trail, only designing the trail. One was for $14,000, the other was for about $54,000. So neither one of those.
The
really-
54,000 was building it as well, wasn't it?
No, it was only design.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the guy needed a new Mercedes.
so neither one of those proposals really met the goal of completing the project. So I found a company that was recommended by Essex County Greenbelt. They're called Northeast Trail Works. And I contacted them, and I was able to get a quote for design and build for approximately $13,000. So that's very good from end to end. The trail work involves using an existing easement from Main Street up to the town forest. And town forest already has trails, so there's no additional work that needs to be done in there. And then when you cross Wood Street through another parcel that's part of that whole conservation property, the goal was to get over to Center Street so that you could go into the state property at the Crane Pond Reservation. So that was the goal. So this quote would do that. The last piece is to get an easement, a trail easement across at least one property. There's about 3 or 4 different ways to do it, but that's actually the last piece. So I was able to contact Essex County Trail Association, and they help municipalities with trail easements. They've done a ton of work in West Newbury. We've never used them in Groveland. But they advised me that it's fairly simple to do. The main thing is to find a property owner who wants to participate in making our trails better and willing to give a trail easement to the town. So that's really the last piece. We can do a couple of things. We can proceed to do the first portion of the Nichols Village easement up to town forest. And in the meantime, we can be pursuing the trail easement part, or not. So I'd like to know what the committee thinks.
I have a couple of questions / thoughts /
Okay.
theories.
Sure.
The design build for 13,000, does that include the portion of the trails that you need the easement for?
Yes.
What is the legal cost in gaining those easements? And
No,
is that
no.
included in the
The
13,000?
only cost for getting a trail easement is a survey. And those aren't always required, depends upon if the landowner wants a survey. But there's no other legal costs. I mean, yes, we'd probably have town council take a look at it, but using, these things are so common that Essex County Trail Association has a template that we can use, so we don't have to start from scratch. And, town council would spend an hour or 2 looking at it and
And
reviewing it.
do you have a plan if the landowners tell you no?
Well, yes, yes,
Okay?
there is a plan. If we cannot cross over to Center Street, remember, there's three potential paths for an easement.
Do they all require private property?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna require an easement.
Yeah.
There's no direct path from town-owned property. One of the quotes that Rebecca submitted recommended going this kind of roundabout route out through West Newbury and then.
That
running-
jumps onto an existing trail, right?
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, I haven't been out there to really look at it. And then comes right along the Groveland, West Newbury line and comes out. So that's a fourth option. So we've got at least four options that we need to pursue to see which one really would work.
And as,
The price on those, again, easements, it's gonna come in under $18,000, even with the cost of the easement. If really, the only thing is, we have to get an
Right.
agreement for an easement, right?
so I would be, I mean, I would have to say, that would have to be the first part of this.
Right. You can't
Is
have a
getting
trail
those
if you don't
easements,
have a
'cause
trail.
If,
Well, we
you know-
can have a trail.
but it's, no, it's
It's
a
only-
half a trail.
No,
Right.
it isn't half a trail. It would be a complete trail. It just wouldn't come out on Center Street.
Which is what the project was voted to do.
No, that was one of the things the project was voted to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, I reserve the
I-
right, I reserve the right to go
No.
back and look at the original application.
Well, you can, I'll
But-
give it to you,
and-
but I understand what you're saying, but there's,
It feels like cart in front of the horse. I mean, like, if you don't have the right to use the land.
I feel
you can't
like-
plan for the land to be used, and if you don't have, I mean, so do you have any of the homeowner, have you
This-
spoken with the homeowners?
this portion of the trail is less than 10% of the trail. I'm not gonna argue with you to say, we must go forward now, because no matter what, I have to pursue the easement regardless, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, but,
Right.
I would hate to see us not have a very good trail in place eventually that didn't meet that one last thing that, oh my gosh, 10% of it, another 200 feet and we can get out onto Center Street.
Okay,
But what is it without that? It's a trail to nowhere.
No,
It's a dead
it's not-
end.
Hold
no,
on.
it's not a trail
Hold
to
on,
nowhere.
So, the whole of this board agrees that enhancing the trail network is a good thing, right?
Yes.
And so to prep for it and get ready for it, and I think you won't meet with much resistance on it, right, from the board anyway. But if it's in a state of flux, like we don't even know where it's gonna ultimately go, and maybe it's only 10% of the trail, but, like, while you're seeking the easement, it's not, trail costs aren't going through the roof, right? This is mowing a path and, putting some stakes down, right? I mean, so if the whole of the project you think is like 15 grand for the work of it, I mean, what's the harm in waiting until you get an easement, which you could get any day, right? Like, I mean, it could be.
It could be as simple as a conversation.
And so once you have the easement, then you don't have to say, well, these are these 4 different ways this could go. You can say, this is the way that we choose, and it meets these goals and it does these things. I don't think you're hamstrung if you just have to wait to make sure you get 100% access,
Yeah.
to go proceed. I think you get support to move forward.
I understand
What you have.
that. Believe me, I didn't expect you to say anything different.
Right.
That hurts a little bit, Mike.
No, you know what I mean. No, but what I just wanted to do was prepare you
Sure.
for the fact that, it's still like wide open.
Yeah.
okay?
Like I say, I would start with the easements, or at least having a conversation with the owners of the properties.
Right, what's the vibe with
Hey,
if there are
are you
four
cool if
owners and
we
they
do
all
this?
say absolutely not, then, I mean, it's a different conversation next month at the meeting than, hey, I talked to two people that said that they would be 100% okay with it, and so these are our two options, and we are green light for, going full bore in 2026. I mean, it's not a Herculean effort to have the discussions to see if the owners are favorable. That's 4 phone calls, right?
It's a little trickier than that.
It might be, but,
Question
I mean,
for Mike.
in its simplest form, anyway.
All right,
All right, we got a question from Kim.
Mike, you're saying the trail's gonna go up Wood Street? The trails?
the trail starts on Main Street.
Yep,
It goes up through the woods on property owned by Nichols Village.
Yep.
It connects to Town Forest.
Yep.
It follows trails through Town Forest. It crosses Wood Street into another property that the commission owns, and then goes, like I say, 90% of the way, and then that last 10% parcel or whatever it is, roughly.
Yeah.
Over to Center Street.
Okay.
That was
now,
the
I just
original.
got one little question.
Yep.
I lived on the farm at the end of
Okay.
Wood Street for
Yep.
2.5 years. So I know every inch of that 90 acres. But the whereabouts on Center Street did you want to come out? Close?
Anywhere.
Wherever they'll let me.
Okay, because presently there's,
Okay.
on Center Street, there's 2 parcels of land for sale that were from the original owner. And then there was land sold beyond where the original house was and the original chicken coops that has been developed into 3 big
Oh, you're
houses.
talking about Wood Street, on Wood Street, right? The chicken.
Yeah.
place? Yeah.
Yeah, but the town complex comes out onto, they have an access onto Wood Street. So,
Yeah, we own property on both sides of Wood Street.
yeah, where the water tower was gonna be at one time.
Yeah, that's Town Forest.
Yep,
And then you cross a little bit, it's maybe about 150 feet. There's a parcel that has a narrow piece that comes onto Wood Street that's about 10 acres that goes over towards Center Street.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I can only remember I remember what brand of corn we grew up there.
And Webster's Chicken House. right?
Yeah, well, Joey Webster was my best man.
Oh, okay.
We grew up since age 5, and we put this way, the night I moved into the apartments in the house was the night my son was born. So, no, I'm very familiar with that.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, okay, thank you.
On that note,
Anything else on the Crosstown Recreational Trail?
I'll keep working.
All right, keep working.
best. Your work is valued, sir.
Update on the Congregational Church Bell Project. No update. Last update was they were looking for getting their preservation restriction,
Right.
and that appears to still be the case. Update on the Trail Enhancement Project.
I have an update. So we are still in the process of getting quotes. It is looking like the benches are going to be very, very, very much more expensive than we initially thought. Along with some of the other hardware, we are, winnowing it down and figuring out exactly what this looks like, whether it's a 2025 thing or a 2026 thing. And some positive news. I did speak to Rebecca, who has been working on these big belly compactors on the rail trail. Excuse me. They were able to order not 1, but 2 and using only the amounts allocated from our budget for, you know, our piece of it. So we're not digging into our budget for the second.
Buy one, get one free?
It's not exactly free, excuse me. But it's from different, but it's from different pots of resources. And so ultimately, they've decided that it makes sense to expand the compacting portion of this thing. So these are going to be bigger than maybe we initially thought, but they will be better because they will have to be, there will be less labor involved in getting them removed, in getting the trash removed. It'll be done less frequently because the things are bigger and compact better and all that sort of thing. But ultimately, one is going to be basically in the middle of the trail, of the rail trail, which is at Center Street and School. And the other one is going to be at where it currently terminates on Main Street or right around there. So these are really good locations anyway, that are well used and trafficked by people in town, even people that are not necessarily on the rail trail. So that's, I think they're about as optimal positions as you could have. And so they're ordered, and I asked, do you think they'll be installed this year? And the answer was, we think so. So we do think those two will be installed. Mike and I did get the last two trails. We did get out there. I can tell you that Center Street is like the jungle, and I came back with welts all over my legs, we were
Need some
doing
maintenance?
we were doing some off-roading, and so I think in my next recreation committee meeting, I'm gonna move to have us do a MOW Vember situation where we're gonna try to do some trail work after the leaves come down and try to get things a little more tidy. So I think we're gonna try to leverage some support from folks and get a couple weekends where people clear up some of these trails so that we have, when so that the maps match what you see on the ground or something at least, approximating that. Let's see. So yeah, again, getting quotes on the hardware. The waste containers and pet waste are fairly close to what was budgeted. They're in the universe. The benches are not, and we have to figure out exactly what that looks like.
Do you have enough in the contingency, or?
I don't think, not in the contingency for that. If lumber is much cheaper than we thought, or we get some donations or things like that, we might be able to make it work. And so I'm gonna be working with Mike and also Rebecca, and then the quotes from the folks that we're doing are getting the hardware. But we're working on trying to see if this is feasible this way, or whether it makes sense to maybe rebid the hardware installations for 2026. More info to follow.
The end. Perfect. Well done. Love a nice thorough report. Update on affordable housing project. So this is in Rebecca's memo. In August, we held the initial kickoff meeting for the affordable housing project with Adam, Emily, and myself, being Rebecca. This meeting laid the groundwork for defining the project's direction and priorities. Since then, we've expanded the team to include John Sullivan, the newly appointed town planner and conservation agent, recognizing the importance of his role in the broader housing conversation. Looking ahead, we will have a follow-up meeting scheduled for October 14th with Innes Associates and the full project team. The goal of this session is to refine and finalize the project scope based on discussions from our initial meeting. Once finalized, we plan to present the scope to the Community Preservation Committee at their November meeting. Next up, update on the veto project. Last we met, I was gonna go meet with them the following day at their veto meeting, which was canceled without letting me know.
Oh,
So I showed up and I hung around for an hour or two and no one was there. And
it's too soon for the joke about it, you were vetoed.
I was vetoed on 9/11 to boot.
All right, I'm sorry.
Very hurtful. At this point, I am trying to get them to set up another meeting. I'm gonna take it upon myself to go into that room and measure a bunch of stuff and draw a picture and give them something. Here, this
Yeah.
is what I think, like, what do you like, what don't you like, and kind of go from that, but time is running out.
Sure.
And as far as keeping the original project and not going to a new one, I think I think it has to go to a new project at this point.
Probably so.
But it's up to the veto committee to make that decision, not myself, unfortunately. But I'm going to do everything I can to make that a thing.
Who's the chair of that committee?
Claire Walsh.
Okay.
It's not really a committee, it's kind of an informal,
It's yeah.
it's not a town committee, it's like an
Okay,
informal.
well,
group.
so maybe if you don't get a result that you're, looking for, maybe come December, maybe you're proposing a new project for 2026 on, and taking responsibility for it.
I don't want to get and have two open projects because I
Okay.
can't close the other one without, I'd rather just play ball with them, and
Okay,
I'll take it right up to the deadline, but I will have Plan B ready to go.
understood.
All right. Any more questions on the veto? All right, update from the town administrator. Skate park update. This month, the project has made significant progress. The highway crew has spent the past few weeks preparing the site, including excavating, removing soil, and compacting the area. These efforts were in response to findings from the geotechnical report, which indicated a potential project change and cost increase. Thanks to the highway crew's proactive approach, they were able to complete the necessary work using materials left over from the roadway pavement management project completed this past spring. This resourcefulness resulted in a substantial cost savings, and we are extremely grateful for their dedication and teamwork. During the week of September 29th through October 3rd, Spawn Ranch mobilized on-site and began shaping the mounds in preparation for concrete pouring. Currently, the crew is shaping and compacting earthen mounds and subgrade forms, which will serve as the foundational contours for the skate features. These mounds are being built using structural fill and recycled aggregate materials, ensuring proper compaction and stability in accordance with the geotechnical recommendations. Once the subgrade is finalized, the next steps will include formwork installation, reinforcement plaster, concrete pouring and finishing, curing and quality control, and then finally installation of skate features. This project remains on schedule for completion by Thanksgiving, with weather and curing conditions being closely monitored to maintain the timeline. Shanahan Rec Area Access Improvements. We are currently in the final stages of completing the punch list items at Shanahan Recreation Fields. However, there are still some outstanding due diligence tasks related to the drainage concerns raised by Ed Watson that need to be addressed. As a result, final invoices have not yet been processed and some work remains ongoing. While we do not anticipate any additional costs at this time, as with any project, retainage must remain in place until the punch list is fully completed. Pines Recreation Area Access Improvements. This project is largely complete. However, we are currently addressing an issue with the irrigation system. During construction, the contractor inadvertently damaged the system, and we've encountered challenges in restoring it to full functionality. Currently, we do not anticipate any additional costs. Once the punch list items, particularly the irrigation matter, are resolved, we will proceed with releasing the final invoice and retainage. Perry Park Phase 1. WDG is working to complete the advanced conceptual design phase, which corresponds to approximately 30% design completion. Funding for the next phase, 30% to 100% design completion, has not yet been identified, as WDG have not submitted a scope of work for that portion of the project. A major reason for this is that the artistic and historic interpretation components of the project are still undefined. Until we know what these elements will include, it's difficult to estimate their design or construction costs. Once these components are better understood, we can begin to explore design options and develop cost estimates. This is why the current phase is so critical. It will help define the last remaining unknowns of the project. WDG will present a new scope of work for the 30 to 100% design phase once the current phase is complete. At that point, they'll also be able to provide order of magnitude construction cost estimates for all project elements. WDG are targeting completion of this phase in October, and we are working on getting a meeting on the calendar. And we have cemetery monument preservation. Epoch Preservation has expressed deep appreciation for the town's patience and support as they've adjusted operations in response to Josh's cancer diagnosis. This season required them to work at reduced capacity, but it also created an opportunity to begin training new team members in preparation for the future. During excavation, Epoch discovered that several stones were significantly worse condition than originally anticipated. While many repairs are proceeding as planned, some markers were found in numerous small fragments or presented other complex challenges. Epoch is currently repairing several of those within the original project estimate. However, a subset of markers is too labor and material intensive to include in the current scope. Epoch proposes removing these more complex markers from the current contract and addressing them under a separate estimate. The estimated cost of deferred repairs is $4,140. Remaining project balance is $10,390. And re-estimated value of deferred work at previous rate, $9,480. We have advised Epoch to complete the current scope of work and to provide an updated estimate for the deferred items, which can be considered at a future date. And then we have the shade structure and seating at the Pines Recreation Area. We are currently working in collaboration with the Dog Park Shade Structure Team, which has been progressing more smoothly due to fewer clearance requirements. The playground shade structures, however, present more challenges. If the structures aren't high enough or are placed too close to the swings or other active areas, they could pose safety hazards. As a result, we're having a harder time finalizing suitable locations. That said, we do have a site visit scheduled, and we're optimistic that this will help us move forward with the finalizing the placement. Unfortunately, due to the size changes, we may have a longer lead time on our order, and this project could get pushed to spring of 2026. For reference, I've included the specifications we've outlined for the dog park shade structures so the committee can get a sense of how sharp and cohesive the final setup will look once everything is completed. And we've already hit all the other ones. All right, that concludes the update from the town administrator. Next up, we have set date for the next meeting. I've got 11/17. If there's no objections to that,
That seems fine.
6:30 PM right here in this room. Then we've got, next on the agenda here, approval of minutes from the 9/8/2025 meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the 9/8/2025 meeting.
Second?
All right, any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, so I don't vote.
You abstain.
Okay,
I got you.
okay, thank you.
Can I borrow your pen for a second?
Absolutely, Kim.
Just
You
wanna-
may have it.
No. I just write when the next meeting is.
All right, next we have other items not reasonably anticipated at the time of posting. So one thing that we've got here is, you'll notice in your packet, a project closeout report from the town clerk scanning document. I've actually searched some of these documents, and they're very nice. It's very easy to find. The original proposal was for $33,000. The project came in at $20,762.19.
Great job.
So well done to the town clerk with Beth and Jennifer for getting that done in a timely manner and under budget. So if we're all good with this closeout report, I'll take a vote on it, and then we can sign off on it, and away it goes.
Okay, I see that basically the town received the digitalized reports back on about 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Very good.
So you get to them from outside of town hall on the town website?
On the website, yep.
And you can search for a word?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not the most computer savvy person in the world. I'm kind of a caveman when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I was able to find a couple of things.
Oh, all right, good. That was the.
Trash
idea.
overrides.
That was the idea.
Nice.
So are we satisfied with said report?
I am.
I make a motion, we accept the report as presented with the cost savings.
I'll second that.
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Done. All right, other items not anticipated. Patrick,
I have none.
Mike,
No.
Elaine, Kim? All right, I just have one, happy anniversary to my wife. She's a saint.
Today?
12 years today, and she said, go to your meeting, I know that's important to you. So,
So you gotta get out of here, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned, 7:30 PM.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
great.
Thank you, Groveland.